The silence. Before the void between stars had always been a place of legends. For centuries, alien fleets crossed it with fear, believing strange shadows lived there. But on this day, the galaxy saw something no myth could prepare them for. In the Grand Council Hall, leaders from dozens of empires argued. Their voices sharp and restless, reports had arrived from the edge of known space. A strange disturbance inside the void. Scouts claimed they saw a structure moving between the dark waves of empty space. It was too large to be a station, too precise to be natural. A weapon, one delegate whispered. A fortress, another said, but the oldest among them, whose race had survived 3 galactic wars, spoke the word all feared. A warship. The hall grew silent. Not just any warship, but something beyond known scales. The report had included fragments of data, readings that suggested size larger than whole fleets. The galaxy's most powerful battleships could match planets, but this object was larger still. Then came the most chilling detail. It carried human signals. The name sent a ripple through every chamber. Humanity. They had been absent from galactic politics for generations, scattered on their own worlds, ignored as a minor species. But now, their return carried the shape of a giant. Across the galaxy, warlords paused their campaigns. Merchants froze in trade routes, even pirates hid in silence. All waited, all watched at the edge of the void. A fleet of alien scouts followed strict orders. They kept distance, recording every movement. Then the darkness split. The Titan-class warship emerged. It did not rush. It did not send signals of friendship or war. It simply entered as if it belonged to the void itself. Its hull stretched endlessly, built of dark alloys that absorbed starlight. Thousands of glowing lines traced its surface, symbols unknown to alien eyes. Its silhouette blotted out entire constellations. The ship's presence was like a silence that pressed into the mind. One scout captain trembled as he sent the last words into his log. "We are looking at a mountain that moves, a planet carved into a blade." News spread faster than light. Every empire, every council, every minor species heard the same phrase. The humans have built a Titan. Fear was natural. How could a race once dismissed as small and fragile create something greater than the oldest empires? Questions echoed in every hall. Did they build it alone? Or did someone ancient guide them? Was this the first? Or only the beginning? The galaxy froze. Even the most aggressive warlords dared not move fleets into human borders. Traders rerouted, soldiers waited, and spies whispered, all feared the same thing. If the Titan moved further, no one could stop it. But humanity remained silent. The ship floated deep in the void, scanning, observing. Some said it was testing the stars themselves. Others claimed it was waiting for a challenge. And yet the silence was worse than war. For silence left the galaxy helpless, trapped between dread and awe. It was not just a ship, it was a message, a warning carved in steel and void light, a declaration that humanity was no longer small, no longer absent as the council chamber closed its session. One voice rose quietly. "We all thought humans were gone, forgotten in their own corner, but today the void speaks their name, and the galaxy cannot look away. The story of the Titan had only begun. And already the galaxy trembled. Echoes of fear, the Titan-class warship did not move fast. It drifted in the void like a mountain carried by unseen currents. Yet every empire felt its shadow. Messages raced through the stars, warnings, pleas, and fearful speculations filled every chamber of power. The galaxy was no stranger to mighty fleets. The draconian legions had ruled with fire. The Tellurian swarms had drowned worlds in endless numbers. And the council itself had kept balance with fleets that stretched across constellations. But this was different. This was not an army. It was one ship, and still no one dared to face it. In the council hall, tension rose again. A delegate slammed his claws against the table. "We cannot wait if this Titan belongs to humans. Then we must destroy it before it grows into a fleet." Others shouted back. "And who will lead such an attack, you? Send your fleets if you are so brave. You will only provoke them," arguments roared like storms. Yet no decision was made. Fear chained even the strongest voices. Meanwhile, far away near the Titan itself, alien scouts watched carefully. Their ships held position at the edge of safe distance. No signal came from the Titan, only the silent hum of its energy fields. Strange pulses echoed from its hull, waves that made sensors flicker, as if the ship itself was testing every eye that dared to look at it. Inside one scout ship, the captain struggled to breathe. It felt as if the Titan's gaze had turned toward him. He whispered, "It knows we are here." His crew nodded in fear, and yet the Titan did nothing. No weapon fired, no fleet emerged. It simply watched. Rumors spread faster than light. In marketplaces, traders whispered, "The Titan can erase planets with a thought." Pirates swore. I saw it bend space as if folding paper. Slaves and farmers prayed in silence. Each rumor grew the legend, and with it, the fear. Then came the boldest move. The Kryn Empire, known for arrogance and pride, sent a message to the galaxy. Their emperor declared, "We will face the Titan. We will show that humans are nothing but old myths dressed in steel." Their fleet, made of 100 battleships, moved into the void. The galaxy held its breath. But even before the first missile was fired, something happened as the Kryn approached. The Titan stirred, the black hull shifted. Lights rippled along its surface like veins glowing with fire. Sensors screamed with impossible readings. Gravitational waves bent the path of nearby asteroids. And the Kryn fleet hesitated. Captains shouted in panic, "Our systems are failing." Space itself is bending. The Titan did not fire a single weapon. Yet ships broke formation, weapons jammed, engines burned out. The Kryn, proud and fearless, were reduced to silence. Their fleets scattered, retreating in shame. No one died. The Titan had not struck. It had only shown its power, and that was enough. Across the stars, silence followed. The message was clear. If the Titan wanted, no empire could resist. But for now, it only watched. And that silence was worse than battle. In the council, despair deepened. Some cried for alliance. "We must beg humans for peace." Others whispered of betrayal. "Strike before they bring more Titans," but none moved. No leader wanted to be the one to awaken the sleeping giant, and yet one thought grew stronger. If this was only one ship, what if humans had more? What if an entire fleet of Titans waited beyond the void? What if this was not a return, but an invasion waiting to unfold? Fear spread like fire. But beneath that fear was something else, a spark of awe, for in their hearts, many knew the truth. They were not just looking at a weapon. They were looking at a declaration. The humans had returned, and the galaxy could no longer ignore them. Out in the void, the Titan remained silent. Its dark form unmoving, its presence alone was enough to freeze the galaxy in dread. The echoes of fear had begun, and soon they would turn into something far greater. The test of strength, the galaxy had grown restless. Fear was not enough anymore. Every empire wanted answers. Was the Titan a symbol, a bluff, or a true weapon of gods? After the failure of the Kryn, whispers filled the council halls. Some called the Titan a phantom. Others said it was only an empty shell made to frighten the weak. But the largest empire of the Eastern Spiral, the Dravari Dominion, refused to live with doubt. Their warlord stood before his generals and spoke with pride. "We are not like the Kryn. We do not run. We crush. We burn. And we prove our might." Their fleet was legendary. 3,000 warships, dreadnoughts larger than moons, fighters in endless waves, weapons powered by suns captured long ago. The Dravari moved into the void with the confidence of predators. The galaxy watched with silent hope. Perhaps this would be the end of the Titan. Perhaps the balance of power would return. The Titan floated in the darkness, calm, silent, as always. As the Dravari fleet surrounded it, messages were sent. "Human vessel, identify yourself." "You trespass in the Dominion's path." No reply came. Only silence. The warlord gave the order. Fire. A storm lit the void. Missiles, plasma beams, and rail shells slammed toward the Titan. The blasts shook space itself. Light brighter than stars swallowed the battlefield. For a moment, the galaxy thought it was over. But when the fire cleared, the Titan still stood. Its hull glowed faintly. Not a single scar was seen. The weapons had touched nothing. The Titan had not even moved on the Dravari bridge. Silence fell. "Impossible," whispered one general. But before they could fire again, the Titan finally stirred. Lines of light spread across its surface, patterns like veins pulsing slowly. Then the space around it bent. Ships nearby were pulled off course. Gravity itself had turned into a weapon. Dravari captains shouted, "Our engines are locked! We cannot move!" Whole formations twisted, dragged into collision by invisible hands. Mighty dreadnoughts cracked like fragile glass. Fighters vanished into the folds of distorted space. Then came the first true strike. The Titan opened its maw of steel at the front. A lance of white light cut across the void. Not fire, not plasma, but raw, compressed gravity unleashed. The beam sliced through dreadnought armor as if it were smoke. 3 ships broke apart instantly, their remains dragged into the void. Panic filled the Dravari channels. "Retreat! Retreat now!" Retreat! Retreat now! But the Titan did not chase. It only fired once, one beam, one lesson, and the lesson was clear. No fleet, no empire, no ancient weapon could stand against it. The Dravari fleet scattered, once proud, now broken. Their warlord's voice shook with rage and fear. This is not war. This is judgment." Across the galaxy, shockwaves spread. The story reached every world. The Titan had endured the might of 3,000 ships and answered with one strike. The galaxy froze once again. But now fear turned into something deeper: acceptance. For the first time, every empire knew the truth. Humanity had not built a ship. They had built a legend, a weapon that made empires look like children playing with stones. In the council chamber, leaders sat in silence. No one argued. No one dared to suggest another attack. The only question left was whispered softly. "What do the humans want?" But the Titan gave no answer. It floated, calm, patient, watching, as if waiting for the galaxy itself to speak first. One thing became certain: war would not stop them. Force would not stop them. Only humanity could decide what happened next. The test of strength was over, and the galaxy had failed. Shadows of diplomacy, the galaxy was silent after the fall of the Dravari fleet. 3,000 ships, broken with one strike. The void still echoed with their defeat, and yet the Titan remained still, its weapons cold, its engines quiet as if nothing had happened. In the council chamber, the air was heavy. Leaders who once roared in anger now whispered in fear. "No empire can fight them," one delegate admitted. Another leaned close, voice trembling. "Then perhaps we must beg." But before any decision could be made, something changed. For the first time since its arrival, the Titan spoke. A signal spread across the galaxy. It was not a threat, not a roar, only a calm voice. "We are humanity. We have returned. We do not seek conquest. We seek balance." The words were simple, but their weight struck harder than weapons. Empires that had ruled for centuries now felt like children caught in their misdeeds. The message continued. "We watched as greed and cruelty shaped this galaxy. We watched as wars consumed the innocent, and we decided silence was no longer enough. So we built the Titan, not to destroy, but to remind. In every hall, every marketplace, beings paused to listen. Farmers on distant moons wept in relief. Slaves in dark mines whispered prayers. Merchants dreamed of new trade under human protection. But not all hearts welcomed the message. In the council chamber, shadows moved. Not everyone believed in peace. Some feared that humanity's offer of balance was only a mask for domination. Whispers spread in secret rooms. If they have one Titan, they may have more. Today they ask for balance. Tomorrow they may demand the galaxy itself. An alliance of silent enemies began to form. Empires too proud to kneel, leaders too hungry to share power. They plotted in secret to provoke the Titan, to find a weakness, to strike before humanity's words became chains. But on the surface, the council pretended loyalty. They sent envoys, gifts, promises of friendship, each smile hiding the knife behind the back. Meanwhile, the Titan continued its silent watch. Its presence alone kept pirates from raiding, kept warlords from expanding. Worlds that had known only conflict began to taste calm. But calm was dangerous, for the galaxy had been built on chaos, and not all wished for change. On the 10th day after the Dravari defeat, a secret plan was set into motion. A coalition of 3 powerful empires sent fleets cloaked in shadows. Their goal was not open battle, but sabotage. They carried weapons forged in forbidden labs, devices that could pierce through gravity shields, tools made only for one purpose: to wound the Titan. As they moved closer, the galaxy watched in silence. Most did not even know such a plan existed, for the council leaders denied everything, but rumors still slipped through, and fear grew once more. Inside the Titan, no one could guess what humanity thought. The ship did not reply to threats. It did not boast of its power. It simply waited. And waiting was worse than war. For the galaxy did not know if humans planned peace or judgment. In secret halls, debates raged. Some leaders begged for trust. Perhaps they mean what they say. Perhaps they wish to heal what we have broken. Others spat in anger. No, they will enslave us with silence. Better to die in fire than live under their shadow. Diplomacy had begun. But diplomacy in the galaxy was never clean. It was shadow and deception, promise and betrayal. And humanity had stepped into its center as the cloaked fleets moved closer to the Titan. Their commanders whispered, "If we succeed, the galaxy is free. If we fail, the galaxy belongs to them." But deep inside, even they knew success was unlikely, for they had seen what the Titan could do, and yet pride blinded them. They would rather risk destruction than kneel in the void. The Titan stirred again. Its lights flickered, its hull shifted, as if it already knew what was coming, as if it had been waiting, not just for war, but for betrayal. The shadows of diplomacy had begun, and the galaxy's fate balanced on a single choice. The choice of the void. The cloaked fleets crept through the void like hunters. Their ships carried weapons born in shadows, weapons that council law had forbidden long ago, yet desperation made them bold. They believed that if they struck together, they might wound the Titan, perhaps even break it, across the galaxy. No one knew their plan. Markets were calm. Warriors held their swords still. Farmers planted seeds in peace for the first time in years. Yet above them, betrayal moved in silence. Inside the council chamber, leaders argued again. Some still begged for peace, others hid smiles, waiting for news of the secret strike. But the Titan itself had already sensed the storm. Without warning, its lights flared. Lines of white fire spread across its endless hull. Space bent around it like glass under heat. Gravity twisted, folding in silent waves. The cloaked fleets froze, their stealth fields shattered like thin ice, revealing them to the galaxy. Panic filled their comms. They see us. How? How is this possible? Before they could fire a single weapon, the Titan spoke again. Its voice was calm, but this time it carried a sharp edge. "You have chosen deception. You bring forbidden fire against us. You think fear will break us, but fear is what we were born in. Fear is what we mastered." The cloaked fleets opened fire in desperation. Their weapons screamed through the void, piercing light, dark matter shells, tearing energies that had never been tested in battle. But all of it was swallowed. The Titan's shields bent space itself, turning every strike into nothing. Then the Titan answered, not with missiles, not with endless fire, but with silence made into power. A wave rippled out, invisible, unstoppable. Engines died, weapons went dark, fleets that once ruled the stars drifted like toys, paralyzed in the void, and then the Titan spoke again. "We could end you now. We could burn your fleets into dust, but we will not. Because this is not conquest, this is choice." The words echoed across every world, to rulers and slaves, to merchants and warriors, to every child looking at the stars. You can choose war and be broken by it, or you can choose balance and stand beside us. In the council hall, leaders trembled. Some lowered their heads in shame, others clenched their fists in rage, but no one dared to speak against the voice. One elder finally rose, his voice weak but steady. For centuries, we thought ourselves rulers of the galaxy. But we see now we were only caretakers, waiting for the return of those who were truly meant to guide. We accept balance. We accept humanity. Slowly, others followed, one by one. Voices declared loyalty, not out of love, but out of fear, awe, and respect mixed together. Yet among the common people, the choice was clearer. They cheered, they prayed, they whispered of a future where titans stood guard, where no empire could enslave, where no warlord could burn worlds for pride. The betrayal fleets drifted helpless, their commanders silenced, their soldiers staring at the Titan like children before a storm. They too heard the voice, and in their hearts, they knew resistance was no longer possible. The Titan lowered its glow, its lights dimmed, the void returned to calm, but the message had been carved into history. Humanity had not returned as conquerors. They had returned as judges, as guardians, as balance itself. In every corner of the galaxy, one truth became eternal. The day the Titan entered the void, the galaxy froze, and it would never be the same again. The final words of humanity's voice echoed like a vow. We did not come to rule you. We came to remind you. The void is wide, the stars are endless, and balance will remain as long as we stand. And with that, silence returned. The Titan floated in the darkness, watching, waiting, a shadow larger than fear, a promise stronger than war. The galaxy had made its choice, and humanity had made theirs.